Good evening from here. I've been gone for a while. As a few of you noticed, last week I didn't do a show, and 2 weeks ago I recorded it myself. So, as I was speaking to Gus and Vanessa, who are the producers of this show, and many others, I got out of my routine completely, and maybe if I say it, I'm gonna become less stressful. So here I say it. I got out of my routine, so I'm getting back to it. I would say that it's been incredibly interesting energetically over the past few weeks. And one of the things that has been coming up for me lately on my sessions is the fact that summer has begun and we've got a lot of magnets, nano implants, and chips, and that's actually something that I would like to speak about. It's been something that's been on my mind for a while, but I think that now it's actually the divine right timing to speak about it. The reason why I said that it's summer and we've got implants is because I would say that most of them come from our atmosphere. And that's why the more we go outside, we go and we are enjoying some sun, we might actually catch a few of them into our fields. And now what are you gonna do about it? Are you going to isolate yourself? Or are you actually going to learn how to clear it? Well, I would say we have to learn how to clear it. So I'm going to give you a few tips on how to actually clear implants in an effective way and actually in a very simple way at the same time. We are going to speak about the fact like what the implants actually are, what kind of types of implants do we have, because there are actually many, like there's a lot of different implants, and I will just try to speak about a few of the most important ones. We are also going to discover like the most targeted areas in the body when it comes to chips and implants. Where do you find them in your body? And like you might actually, like as I will be reading those most targeted places, most of you will be probably like, right, like this place has been bothering me. So I will give a few examples. We will also speak about the implants in context of the spiritual hygiene, like how often you should check for implants. How can you also protect yourself from not getting them into your field? And we'll also speak about the context of implants coming from different timelines, because actually, I guess all of you are aware of the fact that theoretically, of course, we can have all sorts of energetic and physical implants in the body, but they could be also coming from different timelines. And now what they are doing, that's quite interesting. And we'll also speak about something that I'm referring to as the organic implants, which are actually the eternal diamonds. So I will kind of tell you how, through the connection with your eternal body, you can actually create a positive program running in your body. And what else do we've got? Well, I think that's gonna be pretty much it. I dedicated quite a lot of time putting together different types of implants, so we can have like a comprehensive guide about like what kind of types of implants do we actually have and what are they doing to the body. So I think it's going to be quite of an interesting topic, especially if you've never heard about it before. So I've got quite a lot of reading to go through, but I guess I will be also speaking from experience, because this is something that keeps coming up on my sessions, all sorts of different types of implants and what kind of impact they actually also have on the physical, mental, and emotional body. So I guess I will just get straight to the point. We will start with kind of finding out what are implants on the first place, what is the definition for an implant, and why actually are they in our bodies? So like what are they doing? What kind of function do they have? And I just would like to remind this because since this is quite controversial, what I'm speaking about is purely theoretical in nature. I guess it's like a conspiracy theory that we all have implants in our bodies. So I'm just talking about a certain concept that I believe in, but it's not, it technically doesn't have any scientific evidence. So it's worth mentioning that. I just want to make that clear, but I guess if you're listening to that, then I guess there's a part of you that believes in that and you have the right to it. So, what are implants? Implants are frequency blockages or frequency transmitters. They either work as a certain type of frequency fence that blocks the individual from receiving a certain frequency energy wave into the body, or they serve as a broadcasting device that beams specific energies, usually disharmonic energies, into the body. So an implant might be blocking certain energy from coming into your field, or like it's going to affect the ability of your system to circulate certain frequencies through your body. And that can include there could be even implants which are also like at the same time the energy is coming into the body, but it's getting reversed in the meantime. So let's say there's some kind of a plasma current, because that also involves the plasma currents. The plasma current is coming into the body, but suddenly it's coming across an implant that is reversing its spin and its quantum, and it's basically causing us to circulate the reversed plasmas through our field. So that's a possibility. That's actually how it works very often. So implants can be frequency blockages, or they can also be in the body and they can reverse the energies that are coming in. Or they could be also the frequency transmitters. They can broadcast certain, usually twisted energies into the body. So, for example, you may have an aspect of yourself in a fallen system, and what connects you with that aspect is that implant that was inserted in your body at the same time. And whenever that aspect of you in the fallen system, let's say it gets hit with some reversed energies, you experience the same. So it's also not that always, it's not always so simple when it comes to clearing the implants from the body. Sometimes you also need to get back an aspect of the stolen quantum, because it's actually it's affecting you at the same time. If certain parts of your consciousness are somewhere else, you're subconsciously going through the same thing as those aspects. So if you imagine all of those poor souls in hell realms, they are going through a lot of suffering, right? All sorts of tortures that are going through there. And technically, a person who is having an aspect of themselves in the hell realms, they are not usually aware of that. But for example, they might have those programs of the depression coming back. And it's kind of like they keep running them through their subconscious, and then it kind of partially goes into their conscious mind at the same time. So it's having an impact on us, even if we are not always aware of it. So implants to a certain degree are affecting us also, like on this kind of very deep, subtle levels. Most of Earth's population nowadays carries implants due to the global agendas of mass mind control and hijacking of our organic quantum. So if you never cleared yourself from implants, you most likely have them. Even if you live a healthy diet, a healthy lifestyle, there is a chance that you might still pick up something from the Earth's atmosphere, or you might have certain implants from previous lifetimes as well. I will speak about the mechanics on how it's being passed on from one lifetime to the other in a moment. However, this is affecting us, and it's kind of like there is no escape from getting implants in your body, but at the same time you can easily get rid of them. So there's kind of like also a good side of it. Implants may be located on different levels. We've got some on the physical body level, usually transmitted through chemtrails and injections of all kinds. So that can involve, theoretically, of course, like the flu injections or anesthesia. That's also very often including like those small nano implants that later get into the blood. Or basically, whenever they spray the sky, that's when it's also coming through. So this is kind of unavoidable. You cannot avoid that so easily. But at the same time, if you start clearing that from the energetic level, those physical body implants are not such a big issue anymore. We also have implants on the etheric or astral body level, and that is usually coming through multidimensional interference and abductions, or on a few different dimensional planes at once. So since all of your light body levels, like your light body anatomy is 15-dimensional, all of those levels of yourself, kind of like if you imagine that you've got like 15 floors, right? And on each floor, you've got a certain identity level. Well, if you have implants on the level of the 7th dimension, they are still affecting you in the 3rd dimension. So actually, as we start to look into it from this perspective, we have to find all of them from all of the dimensional levels. Otherwise, the interference might not stop so easily. The main purposes for the existence of implants in the body include mind control through satellites, artificial intelligence and such. And once again, I'm speaking about that only theoretically. I doubt that any of you believes that a satellite can attach to your mind and control you. I mean, that would be so weird, right? It also includes the distortions of the organic health imprint through inserting implants that distort the biorhythms of organs and other body parts. So the implants might also kind of work as certain devices that are inserted into different parts of our body and are later affecting their functions. And that can include such critical places like the brain or the heart or the intestines. So like certain chronic illnesses are actually coming from the existence of implants in the body or implant networks that might be going through the entirety of the body. I would say that one of the most dangerous implant networks is the one that is literally running through your nervous system. So like when you have your nerves, there are those small implants kind of attached to your neurons, and that is really badly affecting your biochemical processes of your anatomy. Implants are also affecting our higher self connection. They are cutting us off from the organic high-frequency energy currents. If you're having a lot of implants in your body, it's kind of difficult to catch that connection, and sometimes those implants are directly inserted into our higher chakras, like even not necessarily the higher chakras, but like chakra 6, the third eye chakra or the crown chakra, and that is basically disabling this vertical current of energy to come into our bodies, or this current is getting distorted. And also implants are being inserted for all sorts of tracking, locating and spying to keep an eye on targeted individuals, because some of us are being badly targeted, and that's taking place also through implants. That's how they can locate you. Implants are not a new technology. They have been inserted into other people's bodies ever since Atlantis, or actually even before that, but in other systems. So actually, I would say that if we kind of wanted to go back when those implants started, I would say that's pretty much when the AI has been invented. And that was pretty much along with the creation of the phantom systems in this galaxy, and kind of like almost like in this time matrix, kind of around the time when we had the split between the Milky Way and the Andromeda galaxy being separated, and that black hole was created. That's kind of the time when also the AI was invented. It was invented on higher dimensions and later brought in to this dimensional reality. And ever since then, there's also, like, the implants were actually originally created to connect other beings to that AI grid. So that was the main reason for them. And what kind of implants do we actually have? So we've got the frequency seals, such as the Jehovian D7 seals, or the Draco D8 seals. So those frequency seals are actually mostly coming from the higher dimensions. And again, they might be, for example, blocking the activation of the higher DNA strands. So like if you've got the Jehovian seals, I wouldn't say that you will go beyond the activation of strand 7, not even mentioning the other distortions that start to appear on the way in your DNA template. So I will speak about those Jehovian seals later, because that's actually quite of a popular topic these days. We also have the AI implants that connect us to the larger grid of the artificial intelligence. We have all sorts of attachments to satellites and broadcasting stations, for example, the 5G network. And I'm gonna elaborate on that later as we go through those different types of technologies. We also have the nano implants in the nervous system that distort the flows of information between the neurons. They are quite nasty. This is kind of like this one of the worst types that I mentioned. We also have the implants directly on the DNA structure that prevent the activation of the higher DNA strands, and they twist the codes in the template. And we also have, like, I would say, more esoteric types of seals. And they are the religious seals, the demonic seals, and the occult seals, and all sorts of sigils. I will speak about those types in a moment. Another type are the etheric and astral implants, and they usually affect the biochemical reactions of the body. Astral and etheric implants are actually having a big impact on the physical body reactions. And if you have the etheric implants are also kind of like the imprints of coming from other incarnations. So for example, you may have an implant that is coming like from the Middle Ages. Yes, they were also implanting people back then. And you might still carry that in your body if you never consciously removed it. So that's pretty much how it works. The etheric implants, like the etheric body itself, is like an energetic map that is showing us where the distortions are, and it's kind of like a map of all of the imprints that we have caught throughout all sorts of incarnations. We also have magnets. It's a certain type of the implants as well, and I will later explain how they work. We've got the emotional and mental body inserts, and that usually includes certain types of the platonic solids and the reverse geometry that is running through the emotional and mental body, kind of reversing our natural behavioral reactions. We may also have the antennas in the body. I've seen that a few times. And we can also have the implants coming from the past or future timelines. Implants can be connecting us to certain past timelines, but they could as well connect us to the future timelines. So it's good to understand that implants are actually like a multi-dimensional technology. It's not like someone is just inserting you an implant in 3D and that is later affecting your physical body. That's one of the types of implants, but actually we've got quite many. And they can affect us on many different levels quite badly. So when it comes to the most targeted areas in the body, when it comes to chips and implants. So the left side of the body is usually more targeted when it comes to implants because it's more magnetic. It's like in our bodies, the right side of the body is base electric. The left side of the body is base magnetic. So the magnetic side might be attracting more implants and more different insertions. So that's why many people that I come across, they are actually always kind of saying like, oh, like it's always the left side of my body that is getting affected whenever there's some kind of an issue. We also have the thyroid gland and the azure area. And basically the thyroid is the place of the Katara center 8 when we have this 12-dimensional Katara grid running through our bodies. Center 8 is located in the thyroid, and a little bit below it we've got the azure in the thymus gland. So these two glands are very much affected because this is kind of like the center point of our light body anatomy. In the azure we've got the seed atom. And if the seed atom of our light body gets twisted, it's like the entire body starts to run on the reversal, referred to as the monadic reversal. So that's why these areas are very often targeted when it comes to completely reversing us from the core. Another 3 areas that are being targeted includes the brain, eyes, and ears. Those implants are altering our senses, causing the mental body illusions and distortions. Also, the ear ringing and the eyesight problems could be related to the presence of implants in our multidimensional anatomy, as well as the physical anatomy. So it's kind of like that's something that again has been coming a lot lately for the past month. A lot of blockages in the eyes that kind of very often look like glass layer in front of them, or certain implants located on the inside of the eye in the pupil. And also the ears are very often blocked. So they are targeting those areas because they are trying to alter our senses or just block them. There are also a lot of implants directly in the DNA. They are usually putting the blockages on codes. And the nucleotide pair sequencing. So it's also related to the DNA strands braiding together. And if you have an implant on your DNA, it's very often making your DNA too magnetic, because the DNA, when it comes together, when the strands are braiding, the magnetic codes and the electric codes come together into like one united strand. So what the implants are doing is that they are basically twisting the polarities of the DNA. And there could be also implants on certain sequences of the DNA that could be affecting different parts of the body. We also have the Kundalini and the spinal cord. I would say that it's one of the most popular places where the implants are. The Kundalini and the spinal cord are actually they are circulating the life force energies. So this means that if someone starts to put implants on your spine, this connection is being cut off or it's being distorted, and you might feel like the energy in your back is stuck. You might feel certain pains in those areas. So it's basically like a major distortion in the flow of the life force energies. So the next aspect of it is the wing spot, and it's also actually on the back. The wing spot is located in between the shoulders on your back, and the wing spot is actually a very important area of our body because in the past we all used to have wings. I don't know if I ever spoke about it on my shows or not. That's what I've been telling a lot to my students on my classes, where you've got your angelic wings, each one of us does. And now your wings are also related to the air element. They are also related to freedom, to a sense of freedom where you can spread your wings and you can fly. And of course, you don't have that on the physical body level yet, maybe in the near future, but you have it on the plasma body level. And now what they've been doing is that they have been implanting the wing spot, poisoning it with the black goo, not even mentioning that many of us are kind of having those mutations of the wings, of our angelic wings, where one wing is smaller than the other, or the wings are holding certain blockages in their frequency flow. That's actually related to the fact that they wanted to take that freedom away from us. They wanted to cut our wings so that we feel limited. So this area is very often targeted. We also have the implants are very often also in the bones and muscles, and that is usually just causing physical pain in the body. And the implants on the heart chakra are related to the blockages of the astral field. So you might experience kind of the sensation of like you're falling asleep and your consciousness is just going somewhere else and you don't know where it's going. It's like you're just turning off. Your mind is turning off. So that could be related to that, or all sorts of astral body attacks are also related. I have a question here. Itching at the site of the wing spot, is it a sign of implants? Not always. So the itching in the wing spot could be actually related to your angelic wings being activated. So I would say that if you're feeling pain in there, for sure there's some kind of a blockage. But if you feel itching, that could be a sign that either some kind of heavy energies are coming out from it, or the wings are actually activating and perhaps you kind of need to move them, because we should be moving our wings. On the inhale, it's kind of like their tips are coming together and they are sparking above your head. On the exhale, they spread back out. So there's kind of like a mechanics behind it. Your breath is supposed to be synchronized with the movement of your wings. So like exercising your wings like that can be actually very helpful. And I'm seeing here a question, another one. The left side of the body is connected to the right brain hemisphere and vice versa. Yes, that's how it works. But actually, we shouldn't have that split. We shouldn't have that split of the left and the right side of the brain. That's been made artificially so that we are cut off from the higher dimensions, pretty much. Because your left side of the brain is kind of like more analytical. It's making logical associations. It's kind of thinking, analyzing things. But the right side of the brain is the one that feels, it is the one that is more intuitive. and they should work together, but they do not. They are split. So it's kind of like an aspect of starting to actually practice also more with the left side of your body so that you can reawaken this right side of the brain, but they also try to block the left side of the body so that the right side of the brain also remains blocked. So there's kind of like a mechanism behind it. All right, so these were the most targeted areas on of the body. I will just read them once again. We've got the left side of the body, the thyroid gland and the azure, which is the thymus gland, the brain, eyes and ears, the DNA, kundalini, which is at the tailbone and the entire spinal cord area, the wing spot, bones and muscles, and the heart chakra. And it doesn't mean that the implants aren't in other places, but these are the most common places where you can come across implants. And I'm just being guided to say that I don't know why, but maybe it's gonna be helpful to some of you who are listening to this. So the implants are also many times in the feet chakras, because our feet also have chakras, and they are making us very like if you're having implants in your feet, you're basically ungrounded, because the way you ground yourself is that there are those energy currents coming from the earth core, running through your feet and through your base chakra. But what happens is that when the feet are having implants, their polarities are usually getting reversed, and they are basically repelling that energy, and you kind of feel like instead of walking, you're actually flying. So that's how it works, and that's also distorting your earth element in the body because you cannot properly ground. So this is also a common area where the implants are the soles of the feet. Maybe that will be helpful for some of you, I don't know. So now we are going to look into the most common implant systems. We've got the Jehovian seals, and these are like the 7-dimensional seals, and they are located mostly on the left side of the body. The Jehovian seals reactivated again in the human anatomy in 2016 due to the trumpet pulses broadcasted from the phantom Arcturus in the 7th dimension. These seals cause the electromagnetic disbalance in the body, making the left side of the body too magnetic, which exposes it to multidimensional interference, which includes forced activation of the black hole vortices that suck in the energy from our body. The left side is also related to the divine feminine energy currents that may be affected if the Jehovian seals reactivate. They also cause mutation in the DNA referred to as the checkboard mutation that causes imbalance in our personal templates. Some codes activate while the others are being turned off. So we end up with a problem because if we don't activate the entire DNA strands, we may face an issue with braiding of different DNA strands together. Jehovian seals are right now being progressively cleared from the personal anatomy of the planet, as the planet is clearing itself from the dark flower flows through the Nomia and chevron wave transmissions. So we are progressively getting less and less interference coming from the Jehovian seals. The Jehovian seals are being cleared on a collective level as we speak about it, I would say. So soon we are not going to have so much of an issue with that. Even though if you don't clear it from your body, the residue might stay for a while until the planet actually starts to beam the currents of frequency that are strong enough to just wipe out the Jehovian seals completely out of the planet. But as I mentioned, this issue with the checkboard mutation is the most problematic here, because basically, again, when you have those electric and magnetic codes in the DNA, The Jehovian seals, for example, might be targeting the electric codes and reversing them to magnetic, and that might cause like complete chaos when it comes to like what kind of codes are merging with which ones. And then those templates of the DNA strands might actually look quite chaotic. So if you're having issues with the left side of your body, if you don't feel it at all, or if you kind of feel like there's this very significant split between the left and the right side, this might actually indicate the Jehovian seals being in your body. And I'm just going to quickly go through the locations of the seals in your body. You can kind of see yourself if this is something that you also struggle with, and you can have some of those seals activated. For example, you can have like only 2 of them activated, or like all the 7, or not at all. So it's kind of like about getting a feel whether that's the case with you or not. So the first seal is located on the top of the skull on the left side. The second seal is located in 3 places at once: in the heart, in the left lung, and on the back of the left knee. The third seal is located in the pineal gland, in the center of the brain. And this one is actually the biggest. This one is kind of very much affecting the multidimensional perception and your inner vision. The fourth seal is located on the left side of the neck. Seal number 5 is located on the back of the left thigh. Seal number 6 is located kind of in that place where the skull is interfacing with the spine. You can kind of feel out that place as you kind of like, yeah, there's kind of like a specific place in there where that intersection takes place, and that's where that seal is literally located, kind of at the base of the skull. And the 6th seal is also located on the left top of your shoulder. And the 7th seal is located also on the left side of the neck, kind of where you've got this key artery going through it. So these are the 7 locations of the seals. Those seals, it's not like they can be taken out of the body, they actually have to be vaporized. So the best way is to kind of use the eternal energies coming from your core or the rainbow plasmas and kind of start circulating the energies into those places where the seals are, and that will progressively start the process of their vaporization. Okay. So the next type of seals are the Draco seals on the level of the 8, dimension 8. And the Draco seals are an implant system that may affect us on multiple different levels. These seals are usually located in the chest and the upper back area, so they may cause an issue in those places on a physical level, as well as directly affect the wing spot, which is blocking our original organic wings from activation. So again, the wing spot might be affected by the Draco seals. The Draco seals are also connected to the time period of the draconian infiltration, during which many angelic women were forced to interbreed with the draconians, and some men have been manipulated to help them out with this agenda. These seals are directly connecting us with that timeline, which was 1 million years ago. And 1 million years ago was quite long, but it's actually still having a very big impact on the divine feminine and the divine masculine balances. This set of seals also affects the Katara center 8 area in the thyroid and the azure thymus gland, putting a blockage on our seed atom. These seals usually give a sensation of physical pain or heaviness. So if you feel like your chest area is terribly heavy, that is most likely because of the Draco seals, especially if you have any kind of draconian codes in your DNA. It's kind of easier for other races to create such opening through these seals. The next type are the religious seals. And they are energetic implants that connect us to various egregores created by the collective consciousness expressing a certain belief system. So an egregore is being created. It's actually like an egregore can be treated as an entity that is produced by the collective consciousness, by the collective mind. So when we have a group of people expressing a certain belief, performing a certain ritual in the name of a certain entity, that's when an egregore is being created, no matter whether that actual entity is real or not. And that egregore is becoming stronger and stronger. It starts to have a mind of its own as we start to express that belief. So that's actually something that started to happen with religions. Religions have probably one of the strongest egregores that are on this planet. So the religious seals are directly connecting us to those religious egregores. So like if you have the Christian seals, you might have all sorts of connections to the egregores of Christianity. Same cases with the Buddhist stuff and the other religions. The main purpose of the religious seals is to block the multidimensional perception, to keep us in the loop of endless incarnations and keep us in the vivi game of constant energy draining, disabling us from being able to consciously regain our freedom. So the religious seals are taking a lot of our energy away, and they are keeping us in a loop of the victim-victimizer game. There are many different types of religious seals, and they may have multiple functions, depending on which religion they are related to. These seals are being passed on from one incarnation to the other, since their imprints anchor in the etheric body template. The most common areas where the religious seals are located in the body include pineal gland, thymus gland, sacral chakra, and the throat chakra. It's about the self-expression and also reversals in the sexual energy when it comes to the sacral chakra. So I might probably do like even a separate show about the religious seals in the future, but I think I was even talking about it in the past. So it depends what kind of seal you're carrying, from which religion you were a part of in this lifetime, but you might also have the imprints of other religions you used to be a part of in the past incarnations. So this is basically, this is how it works. There are all sorts of different funny types of religious seals. You could have a veil on your head if you were a nun in one of your past lifetimes. There could be all sorts of crosses inserted into different parts of the body, and the crosses always work as the frequency blockages, but the religious seals can be also treated as a certain type of implant network in the body. And we also have the demonic seals coming from the black magic ceremonies, and that also includes sigils. So I will give a little bit of insight into it now. So the demonic seals are a result of being either a practitioner or a victim of black magic in this lifetime or in previous incarnations. They may connect an individual to a certain demonic being or bring the energy of the ritual from the past timeline to which this seal is connected to. So it's kind of like the demonic seals, they often kind of carry the trauma. They always carry a trauma of the ritual that was performed. So what happens is that when you have a demonic seal in your body, that trauma keeps running through you and it's affecting you on very deep levels. Demonic seals are usually connected to contracts made either consciously or unconsciously that were made with other demonic entities that usually hold aspects of the consciousness of the contracted individual in their hell realms. So it's something that I mentioned in the beginning, and that's the case with demonic seals. They are actually very sophisticated, where it's like you've got a seal, you've got a contract behind it, you've got a consciousness trapped in the hell realm, and also on the past timeline where that ritual took place. So it's actually like, the entire process of actually removing that. It's not about just removing the seal itself, but getting your aspects back, consciously healing the trauma, and also making sure that the contracts with those demonic entities are removed. Otherwise, they might not just leave you alone so easily. They usually don't want to let go. These seals could also take on a form of sigils, symbols used to represent an energetic signature of a certain being, usually a demon or a fallen angel. Sigils carry the encryption of the intention of the spell, as well as the encryption of the entity and the magician performing the spell. So they connect us directly to the energy of the ritual. So the way that the sigil works is that it may be like it's usually looking like a certain geometric pattern. And that geometric pattern is kind of like an encryption. It represents an energetic encryption of a certain angelic, not so angelic, or a demonic being. And through that encryption, basically the magician is summoning the entity either to their field or to somebody else's field. So it's kind of like the sigil keeps connecting you to that entity. And also the geometry that is contained in the sigil is also having a direct impact on the kind of geometry that is running through your body. And it's kind of like our bodies are geometric patterns. Like you're looking into those atomic and subatomic levels and all you see is geometry. So if you're having reverse geometries in your body, you're also attracting the same in your hologram. So getting those geometries realigned in your body is actually a key aspect of putting your hologram together into something harmonious. The demonic seals may be affecting us in different areas of our lives, blocking prosperity, siphoning the sexual energy for all sorts of purposes, or causing mental illnesses, which are a result of holographic projections created by these seals. So like people that we would label as insane or crazy, they may actually have a lot of demonic seals. So it's not like they are crazy, but they are actually being traumatized by certain beings. And also those certain self-destructive patterns and depression that might be also related to a lot of your personal quantum being stuck in a hell realm. And the hell realm is basically the same as a fallen system, but I kind of make a distinction when I'm referring to the fallen system. That's usually like, we've got the Borgia phantom system, we've got the Draconians having their own phantom system, but those larger entities, different demons, they also have their own hell realms, which are the phantom systems, but they are usually kind of classified as the gonfall systems already because of the huge amounts of reversals up there. So we also have, kind of changing the topic, that was quite of a heavy energy. We've got the Borgia seals. And actually, I had no idea about the Borgia seals until I started writing down things for the show tonight. So it kind of came spontaneously. So I will just read what came to me. So the Borgia seals can be placed in various parts of the body or directly in the DNA template. Borgia seals work as an artificial technology that creates tiny wormholes in the body, progressively sucking in the soul quantum of a targeted individual into the phantom system. It may also involve insertions of actual spiders to the inside of the body. Consequences of such seals usually involve mental and emotional disbalance, chronic fatigue, and dizziness. So those ones are actually affecting us on quite deep levels. And yeah, when it comes to the Borgia seals, those ones are quite aggressive and they are usually inserted in the DNA, so they are reaching quite deep levels. And the next type of seals or implants, well, I would say that those are more classified as implants, are magnets. Magnets are the inorganic metallic inserts that attach into our body and distort the electromagnetic balances in our system. They are mostly transmitted in the form of nanoparticles sent out to the air or through the direct field interference. Magnets are usually inserted into our brain or the spinal cord to affect the patterns of our nervous system and the biochemical balances. Presence of magnets in the body is making our body too magnetic, more vulnerable to all sorts of energy attacks. Dust clouds from the Sahara Desert that are spreading throughout Europe every spring are one of the most significant bioweapons that transmit large amounts of magnets into the body through the air. So when we had those dust clouds coming from Sahara, I would say a couple of weeks back, that's when a lot of magnets were hanging in the atmosphere, and those who were going out were pretty much catching them very easily. So that's one aspect of how you can actually get magnets in your field. You might also get it through the AI. And again, your body becomes too magnetic and you can attract all sorts of other things into your body. So magnets usually give that sense of heaviness in the body, and it's very difficult to vaporize them actually. The best way to deal with magnets is actually like taking them out of the body and sending them down to the earth core for transmutation. All right, so now I'm going to speak a little bit about the AI implants and what they are related to. So the AI grid, that is an aspect of the frequency fence surrounding our planet, is also responsible for the mind control and is especially affecting the mental body. Various aspects of our consciousness are encoded within this grid, and that enables an opening for interference. This usually involves, so like what are the main functions of the AI implants? That involves running the brainwashing or the self-destruction programs. Second thing, inserting false perceptions. And also attachments to various programs inserted in the collective consciousness field. The attack may come through the 5G technology or through the scalar pulses, the red pulse technology. The attack may also involve projecting the reversed artificial black goo substance that gets magnetized into the body through metallic implants or nanoparticles. So this have been pretty much like with the AI implants. This was like one of the ways through which they were actually coming after us ever since 2020 and trying to connect us to this AI grid. I mean, there's been a lot of people connected to that way before, but this has pretty much kind of like expanded on a massive scale. And these are the technologies that can also affect your personal memory matrix. So the AI implants have the power to either insert certain memories or wipe them out. Wiping out memories is related to something referred to as the blank slate technology. And I'm going to kind of like just read a few sentences about what this blank slate technology is about. So implants could be transmitting artificial memories to an individual's mind, but they could also directly affect the personal memory matrix of an individual. That is also referred to as the blank slate technology. This is often used to wipe out other people's memories of abductions, experiments, and cover them with other inserted memories, or leave an empty space in the personal memory matrix. Difficulties with remembering your childhood or certain periods of life could be related to this insertion. Usually they are supposed to cover up certain abductions, and usually like they are being covered with traumas that are actually not true, but you keep having memories of traumas. So the blank slate technology is something that has been actually inserted also on the galactic level, where a lot of the original memory matrix of the Milky Way galaxy has been hijacked, but it's also happening on the planetary and the collective level as well. So those black slate technology, it's kind of looking like certain disks of frequency. And it's like they need to be dismantled from different areas of the body because they are blocking certain memories to come, or more like after you remove this blank slate technology from a certain part of your body, you kind of have to work a little bit on activating certain codes in your DNA to actually successfully allow for restoring those memories. So when it comes to looking now into something that is referred to as the Starlink project and the satellites. And of course, again, this is only theoretical. The Starlink project is an actual project. And in case some of you doesn't know what the Starlink is, the Starlink project involves launching thousands of small satellites into low Earth atmosphere, into lower Earth orbit, not the atmosphere, into the orbit, to create a global network capable of delivering the high-speed internet. So it's mostly like the excuse and like the motivation behind it is to provide the high-speed internet network in all sorts of places around the world, especially in the places which are not having that access these days. But I would say it's like an excuse behind something bigger, because actually there's quite a lot of us who are attached to the Starlink project. So I'm gonna explain how that actually works and how that's again hitting the nervous system. So like as we discover those different types of implants, we actually realize that so many of them are supposed to target our nervous system. Again, they are supposed to target our perception and our sense of also like this multi-dimensional connection, so that we become phase locked only in this holographic experience that we are having here, which is more like of a simulation. There is much more behind it. There are many individuals on this planet that are unconscious of the fact that they are being controlled or influenced remotely through an attachment to the satellite or a frequency device located in Earth's atmosphere. One of the main aspects of this is the Starlink project and the Neuralink. So we've got the Starlink, which is about creating those, like launching those satellites into Earth's orbit to provide the internet connection, apparently. And the Neuralink is about creating an interface between the brain and the computer. So this is going like very deeply into the context of AI. Both projects are having a certain conspiracy behind it, and again, that's kind of how they track the targeted individuals through the satellites. So I often come across many people actually being attached to satellites. And that's how they can actually read and control our minds. So this is like a certain aspect of that mind control agenda. The connection usually takes place through an implant inserted directly into the brain, into the neurological system, creating a direct interface between the mind of an individual and the artificial devices that can broadcast inorganic electromagnetic frequencies, thoughts and feelings, and directly affect the individual's behavioral patterns and body functions. Starlink agenda is very often directly related to the abductions, quantum hijacking, and such. So you might come across having a connection to the Starlink project, and that people who are like having like attachments to those satellites can be actually remotely mind controlled through them, theoretically, of course, but that's kind of like a possibility that is out there. So it's kind of like a very heavy technology, but at the same time, the key, if you feel like there's some, because the way to recognize it is like if you sometimes feel like you're just running on an autopilot, like you wake up in the morning and you're just doing things automatically without really thinking much about them, like what are you doing, why do you do it, etc. If you're not really mindful in what you're doing, that means your mind's empty or there is something taking away that mindfulness. So it's kind of a play of words, but like being mindful, right? Fully in your mind, fully in your spirit. So the Starlink project is kind of making you run on an autopilot where you don't even realize, oh, I wake up, I'm doing my things automatically and I don't even realize, and it's evening and I'm going to sleep again. And it's kind of like this routine that you're starting to have. So running on an autopilot is one of the aspects of the Starlink. And now I'm going to move on to kind of explaining more in context of the chips and implants from different timelines and what kind of impact that actually has on us. So one important aspect that we should understand about chips, implants, and seals is that most of them are multi-dimensional. So they are not just located in our physical body, but in various layers of our light body and plasma body anatomy. This means that they can be passed on from one incarnation to the other. Implants can come from other timelines, and they usually connect us to a certain trauma or an event that had an impact on us. In this case, seals or implants are like artificial inserts that keep projecting the past life trauma into our manifested experience. So that could be related to all sorts of blockages in the body, emotional traumas, and that's kind of like also affecting our parasympathetic nervous system, which is later making associations. Like if we go through an experience that was similar to the past experience where we experience a certain trauma, we basically have very strong reactions in our bodies. So those implants are kind of amplifying this type of a reaction. Implants can be also projected from other dimensions. Such actions are usually related to the abductions, ET experimentations, or forced interbreeding agendas. In such case, the implants have to be removed from the body, but at the same time, the trapped consciousness aspects in other dimensions need to be reintegrated with the rest of the body. So when it comes to the implants coming from other dimensions, that's usually related to a certain interference that you might be facing on other levels. It usually takes place through the astral body, but it can also take place with other dimensional bodies all the way up to dimension 15. Implants could be also connecting us with phantom timelines, both past and future, which are literally working as artificial insertions on a personal timeline, and they distort the quality of our experiential hologram. So insertions to the past and future are also having like a direct impact on the way we are actually perceiving the reality, what we come across. The implants, those implants are basically bringing the frequencies of those timelines into our present. And that's why we are kind of like as if we are still living through those fallen timelines, whatever they are. There could be all sorts of future timelines that are fallen, and later on, what kind of happens is that this implant keeps realigning you with that timeline you wouldn't like. So that's like an aspect of it. The Zeta and Draconian races are the ones that are responsible for most of the abductions, while the Borgia races usually trap aspects of the soul quantum or the life force to feed their phantom system. These collectives right now have taken the Crystal River host, which enables for healing all the damage that has been done throughout the centuries of their malicious agendas on a massive scale, putting a stop to the Vivi game between these collectives and the angelic human race. So right now, luckily, a lot of the Draconian and the Zeta races and the Borgia races are taking the eternal Crystal River host. And thanks to that, we don't face so much interference from their side anymore, but there are still certain past timelines that need to be healed. And kind of like this process of the healing that we are all a part of, because we are a part of the host and they become a part of the host, and this allows us to heal these wounds together. But when it comes to like kind of thinking, where are my DNA samples, or like if you sense that your blood has been stolen, I would say that it's among one of those three collectives. And it needs to be brought back, otherwise your quantum is somewhere else, and that is still having a certain impact on you. Okay, let me see what else I've got. So one thing I would like to speak about when it comes to implanting that is taking place through the healing sessions, when you basically allow somebody to connect with your light body field, and that's when implants are being passed on. You might actually pick up implants from other people as well. That is mostly being transmitted through touch or through the astral attacks that may be kind of taking place through somebody projecting some kind of malicious intentions towards you. So when someone connects directly with somebody's light body field, any kind of distortions that they carry are being transmitted into the biofield of that individual. This may also include implants that are usually being passed on through an entity or a collective that this healer is connected to. Implant removal should not be done by anybody else except for yourself, so that the biofield remains clear from any interference. So like there could be somebody holding the space for you, and for example, like, well, that's what I'm doing with people, like kind of pointing them out, like check if maybe there are implants in this area, can you feel them, can you see them? But the process of the removal is an individual work, because someone, for example, might remove the Jehovian seals from you, but they might leave the Draco seals if there is some kind of a draconian projecting through their fields. We've got all sorts of codes from different races, and when we connect our fields with somebody just like that, we are actually picking up on their encryption. So that kind of becomes quite of a risky game. Like, who are you blending with on healing sessions? So as I said, from my perspective at least, you need to remove implants yourself. It might take you a little bit longer than somebody else facilitating that for you, but at the same time, it's much more beneficial for your personal growth and self-development, because at the same time, you can actually learn how to do it yourself and become more powerful and self-sovereign. And speaking about the implant removal and the spiritual hygiene, I will kind of share a few ways how to remove implants from the body. We should regularly check if we don't have any implants in our body, as they may be affecting the well-being of our mind, body, and the connection with our spirit. If we feel any pains in different parts of the body without any logical explanation, this may suggest us the potential existence of an implant that is distorting the organic flow of the life force energies. We should scan for implants on a weekly basis, since they are being transmitted through chemtrails, during the dream state, or even through other people, usually through the touch or the astral attack, as I mentioned before. Implants can be either taken out of the body and sent down to the Earth's core for transmutation, or vaporized through the use of the plasma currents, for example, the white crystal flame. So if you have an implant in your body, you can gently take it out, kind of like surround it with a ball put it into a ball of energy so that it doesn't get attached again, and you're just sending it down to the core of the planet. The planet is going to transmute any kind of chaotic imprints for you, and then it's good to just kind of like send some healing frequencies into the area where the implant was to heal any kind of distortions that were caused by this implant. Or you can also vaporize it directly, and this is more like a personal choice. Like, for example, when it comes to magnets, it's easier to take out a magnet rather than vaporize it. But if you have certain like small metallic implants in your body, and there's like a lot of them, it would take you ages to take out an implant that is like smaller than a cell sometimes. So that's why sending like a vapor wave through your body can be also very helpful. In case of the implants that are in the nervous system, it's good to purify them through the rainbow plasmas, which are going to very quickly vaporize them from your nervous system. You basically just circulate the rainbow plasmas from the Nomisit, which is the Earth's rainbow bubble of eternal creation. You bring those rainbow energies, you breathe them in through your nervous system, and you gently start to intend to vaporize any kind of implants that are out there. And when it comes to, like, let's say you've got a few bigger implants in your spinal cord, you can also vaporize them directly. You can use the white flame for that. Or you can also use the energies of your core. So if you have the core of your eternal body, the core of your essence, it's kind of located between chakra 3 and 4, kind of like, I would say, like 2 centimeters below the tip of the breastbone. So you can either bring all of those implants, like just suck them into your eternal core, and your eternal core kind of works like a sun, like an eternal vapor, kind of like vacuum cleaner that is going to suck in all of those implants and just vaporize them instantly, or you can also choose to send out the energies outward from your core into the places where the implants are. You just gently take breaths. On the inhale, you concentrate the energy in your core. On the exhale, you send those vapor waves through the spine. And this way, you are space dusting all of those implants very quickly. And there's also another context of it when it comes to the air body, because again, when we have the plasma body, it has those 5 elemental layers, and the air body is one of them. So the nanoparticles also very often collect in the area of the air plasma body, distorting the free flow of the air element through the body and affecting the air molecules themselves. Restoring the air plasma body to its organic divine blueprint can help us release the rest of the implants located in the external templates of the light body anatomy. Freedom from implants equals clarity of the mind and sense of lightness in the body, and smaller risk of receiving any kind of multidimensional interference. So if you heal your air body layer, you can also use your air body to vaporize all the implants that are located in your light body and your physical body. So if you have the plasma body on the inside of the physical body, and then you've got the air body, which is like one, let's say one of the inner layers, it's kind of looking like a white body, the white air, which can sometimes kind of like remind you kind of like of a fluffy cloud. It kind of looks like a fluffy cloud, a fluffy white cloud when it's healthy. And you can kind of turn this body into like a vapor wave and just circulate it through the entirety of your body. And this way it's becoming very effective when it comes to healing all sorts of distortions that may be in different places of your anatomy. And now when it comes to something that I refer to as the eternal diamonds, can we actually set the programs in our body that are running on an autopilot, but they are actually causing the positive changes to our system? So the answer is yes, and now I'm going to kind of elaborate on how to do it. And this will be the last thing I will speak about for today. So we have the incredible power to create our own programs or encryptions in the body. Implants, chips, and seals are overlays on the external and internal templates, but they cannot affect our eternal core. They can only try to affect our remembrance of it. So each one of us has our own core. From our core, we can consciously clear, remove, or create any desired program. The core of our body, that is actually the core of our eternal urea vapor body. As I was talking on a couple of my shows, we've got the external light body, the internal plasma body, and then we've got this eternal urea body, which is the vapor body. And the core of our body, that is referred to as the Ura point, is located between chakra 3 and 4, about 2 or 3 centimeters below the tip of the breastbone. Each one of us can intentionally connect to this core, and your core will look unique. So each one of us will perceive our own core in their own way. Your core might look like a sun, a diamond, or just like a spark. It is the still point of the entirety of our existence. So when the source is kind of expanding its creation, like the source makes an inhale, and then on the exhale, it's projecting out the creation, and everything is coming out from that 0 point in all directions. We also have that core within our bodies. It's kind of like the source has it, so that means that we also have it. And this core can never get reversed, no matter how deeply afflicted you are on different levels of the externalized body templates. Your core remains untouchable. It remains indelible. So if there is one thing to hold on to, this is your core, the core of your essence. It never dies. You can move your point of focus into your core, and from there start creating eternal programs that you would like to run in your body. This can include the health programs, positive mindset affirmations that would run on an autopilot, etc. So any kind of programs that either like something you would like to attract into your hologram, or any kind of healing programs, anything that you feel would be right for you. You can imagine it this way. If you want to create a program, it's as if you move your point of focus into a very bright space. Kind of like as if you're moving yourself into like a heaven realm, or just like a space which is bright and makes you feel comfortable. And you just intend to move your point of focus into that place between chakra 3 and 4, your core of the eternal body. That's where the transformation is taking place. And you just imagine a template of the crystal. It's kind of like a white crystal that is pretty much neutral in frequency because it's not encrypted yet. You actually, through your work, through basically focusing on it and charging this crystal with your intention, you start to give it a certain frequency. And since it is an eternal crystal, you cannot create anything that is fallen. You can only create something that is crystic. So it's a crystal that might either look completely translucent or just in the white color. Start filling in the crystal with the intention of the function you would like it to have. So a certain program that this crystal is supposed to run. Make it shine with beautiful colors, so you can give this crystal any kind of colors you want. And when you feel ready, send it to the area of the body that corresponds to the program you're setting. These programs are eternal and they cannot be distorted. And you are the only person who can remove or change them. So you are actually the only one who has the power over the eternal programs in your body. That's how it works. So this becomes like a really nice tool when it comes to starting to create powerful Christic manifestations. This way, you're basically, you're powerful. You can also even create a program like, I don't want to have any implants in the body, like any kind of implant that tries to come into my body is basically getting instantly vaporized, and it's still going to work. So it becomes a very powerful tool. I also received one question. I will read it. Are there beings who take on a large amount of implants on purpose in order to be able to transmit the organic frequencies to those fallen systems? Yes, sometimes that's the case. Sometimes you take on certain distortions to your body. Sometimes you actually agree to have certain distortions in your body yourself in order to be able to effectively, in order to be able to connect to that system in a certain way and assist it. And that's what some of us are doing now. We are assisting the fallen systems to get back to their organic encryption and basically rescue all the souls from the fallen systems and basically vaporize anything that doesn't want to cooperate and co-create with the source. So this is like the final phase of this operation. So I hope that you enjoyed the show tonight. I hope that you learned a few new things. For me, it was like an interesting discovery to actually find out like, okay, like how many of different types of implants are there, and like I never actually even wrote it down. So now I can see how many different types of seals and implants I have been learning about throughout my direct experience with them. So I am going to see you next Monday. I'm not sure what I'm going to speak about yet. I guess it will come to me in a few days. But for now, I wish you a wonderful week. And I will see you soon. Bye bye.